We have challenges in terms of meeting those constitutional timelines, and I've explained the factors that led to that. The absence of the commissioners.
We will review boundaries in phases, legal setbacks and financial constraints hindering IEBC from full delimitation ahead of 2027 polls.
Our attrition rate is 56%. So as we sit here, at least 56% will not see the inside of Parliament next Parliament.
Prepare for life after Parliament. National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula says a new report shows 195 MPs will not be re-elected. Untouchable cop. CCTV footage captures two men being shot allegedly by a senior DCI officer in Kitengela town. In her first TV interview since the demise of her father, Winnie Odinga speaks on a wide range of issues, from family to party and Raila Odinga's legacy. It's indeed a packed show for you on The Explainer tonight, the very first edition of the year 2026. And we start off The Explainer this night with Power Talk. And today we're talking about Kenya's digital transformation journey. What is that process looking like? What is the update? Konza Phase 1 is complete. What does that mean? Digitization of government services and, of course, access to opportunities for young people in the digital economy. And that is why the Principal Secretary in the State Department of ICT and Digital Economy, Engineer John Tanui, will be here to talk about the digital superhighway and Kenya's digitization program or exercise. That is on Power Talk here on The Explainer tonight. But also tonight, Winnie Odinga, Member of Parliament at the East Africa Legislative Assembly, is here tonight talking for the very first time since her father passed on. She is here live at Citizen Television. That's her preparing for the interview. She will be speaking on a wide range of issues, like we've said. So please do send in your questions. The SMS number is 22422 at Yvonne Okwara. At Citizen TV Kenya. So that is on Twitter and on SMS. And of course, all of that, plus the day's sports news. Emmanuel Ndungu, it's good to see you this year.
I know. First time this year.
Right.
Absolutely amazing.
Yep.
A very packed show, as you were saying just then.
Including the sports news.
Yes, we have some sports news to give you a little bit later on as well. We have action from the Saudi Pro League, some football over there, and preparations in the Kenya Premier League as well. So a lot to get into.
Good, looking forward to it. So that is all on The Explainer, which starts right now. I'm Yvonne Okwara and our sign language interpreter is Liz Atieno. Let's begin the program tonight with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, that has announced that it will review constituency and ward boundaries in phases, warning that constitutional, legal and operational hurdles make a full delimitation before the August 2027 general election unlikely. IEBC chairperson Erastus Ethicon cites legal and financial constraints, including a pending court ruling on the credibility of the 2019 census as risks to the Commission's preparedness for the 2027 polls. Seth Olale has the details.
The Constitution requires the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to periodically review electoral boundaries to ensure fair representation and prevent voter dilution. This review, which ought to have been concluded by 2024, has now exceeded the required review timelines of between 8 and 12 years, posing a serious legal constraint ahead of the 2027 general elections.
We have challenges in terms of meeting those constitutional timelines, and I've explained the factors that led to that. the absence of the commissioners to undertake the policy decisions and oversight around the boundary review.
In a bid to salvage the situation, Ethicon says the Commission will adopt a phased and legally cautious approach, focusing on reviewing select constituencies and ward boundaries first.
A phased approach is the most constitutionally sound and legally defensible course of action.
The IEBC boasts disclosing that the Commission has already written to the Attorney General and the Supreme Court to guide its next steps, and that it will determine whether to fully focus on election preparations and go back to boundaries review 1 year after the 2027 election.
We are not yet there.
Asked whether failure to meet the stipulated delimitation deadlines would pose a legal threat on the 2027 election outcome,
there is that possibility. We can't preempt it. You know, Kenyans, we are a very litigious society. So for us, we are planning on a scenario where we do the best we can under the circumstances. We continue with the activities.
The Commission also stated that other legal constraints, including the pending determination on the credibility of the 2019 census report by the courts, could undermine its readiness for the 2027 polls.
And in the absence of that data, in the absence of that report, then we cannot be, our hands are tied and we cannot progress.
On preparations for the 2027 general election, the IEBC chairperson revealed that the Commission faces a funding shortfall of approximately 20 billion shillings to conduct the 2027 general election.
We have been allocated 41 billion Kenya shillings, and we have a deficit of 22 from the overall budget we are anticipating to receive, that we're asking actually, about 63 billion.
Even as the IEBC finds a solution for overcoming the restraint setbacks it is experiencing, including litigation, it is hoping to enroll its mass voter registration, as well as address some of the queries raised by the united opposition ahead of the 2027 general election. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Nairobi County.
More than half of the current members of parliament may not be re-elected to their offices in next year's general election. This is according to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, who attributed his observations to a report. Speaking in Naivasha, Nakuru County, during a National Assembly retreat, Wetangula called on the MPs to prepare for life after Parliament as preparations for the 2027 general election get underway.
In his address to members of the National Assembly who are attending the 2026 legislative retreat in Naivasha, Nakuru County, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, disclosed a damning report on the re-election rate in Kenyan elections, revealing that more than half of the members do not make it back to the House after every election cycle.
Yesterday, I was chairing a committee on pensions, and an actuarial report shows that on the average, our attrition rate is 56%. So as we sit here, at least 56% will not see the inside of Parliament next Parliament.
This means that out of the 349 serving members of the National Assembly, 195 of them may not make it back after the August 10th, 2027 general election as the voter moves in to root out non-performing representatives.
And we want to make sure that there must be life and good life after you leave Parliament so that you can be covered health-wise. We have had 4 pension amendment bills. We want to encourage you to give it priority.
This coming as the House promised to keep the executive in check to ensure it delivers on promises made to Kenyans so far.
As a House, we must be there to offer meaningful oversight, ensure that whatever monies come from the privatization process are utilized in a manner that creates impact for our people.
You know, the sun is really hot out there, so when you bring us here, at least we cool the tempers just before we can start off the work of the year.
The details emerged as the dash to the August 2027 general election continues to gather pace, with the Register of Political Parties saying 32 political parties had been provisionally registered ahead of the polls. As members of the National Assembly prepare to get back to business after a 2-month recess, the work ahead of them is Herculean, as members of Parliament now prepare for oversight legislation and representation, even as time ticks towards next year's general election. Emmanuel Tau, Citizen TV, Naivasha constituency, Nakuru County.
A family in Makueni County is demanding answers following the death of their 28-year-old relative, whom they allege was brutally assaulted by police while in custody. The family says he was released from a local police station while unconscious and later died from severe head injuries. As the Independent Policing Oversight Authority begins investigations, questions are mounting over what transpired inside Nunguni Police Station. Lillian Muli reports.
A family in Tusunini village in Kilungu, Makueni County is mourning the death of 28-year-old Moses Mainge, their kin who they say was healthy and full of life before his arrest by police 3 weeks ago. Moses was arrested after the owner of Oasis Bar accused him of causing a disturbance and releasing patrons without paying their bills. The owner allegedly demanded 20,000 shillings, which the family says they could not raise. He was later released on condition that he reports back to the police station. However, his elder brother later found him lying semi-conscious at the reporting area, with police dismissing it as drunkenness.
Mimi wakati nilienda hapo nilimkuta kwa ombi akilalishwa hapo, nikamwamsha, nikamuita hakuitika, nikamuita tena hakuitika.
Mtoto hajasema kitu, hajasimama, hajakula. Nilikuwa saa ile ndugu yake anamleta hapa, nilikuwa nampatia chakula na kijiko.
Hours after being taken home, Moses had neither spoken nor eaten. He was rushed to Kilungu Sub-County Hospital, then referred to Machakos Level 5 Hospital as his condition worsened. He was later moved to a private facility where, despite efforts to save him, he died. The family is now demanding answers, questioning what happened to Moses while in police custody and why officers at Nunguni Police Station allegedly refused to show where he was booked in the occurrence book.
Tunauliza kama wale wanapaswa kuchunga wananchi ndio wanawaumiza, tunaelekea wapi?
Serikali nisaidie, kwa sababu hii ni mtoto ni wangu wa nyuma. Sasa nitafanya nini?
IPOA has launched investigations with several people already recording statements.
Specifically the police. Na wale police nao hata wao watarecord statements. Na hilo mtu yote hapa na information.
As Moses Mainge's body lies at Kilungu Sub-County Hospital morgue awaiting post-mortem, his grieving family is demanding answers and justice. Lillian Muli, Citizen TV.
Right, and here on The Explainer tonight, Winnie Odinga, Member of Parliament at the East Africa Legislative Assembly, joins us live now to speak about a wide range of issues. Winnie, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here with us. I'd just like to ask, first of all, how you are doing and how you are coping. It's been about 3 months now?
Yes, it's been 3 months.
Yeah, since the passing of your father. How are you doing?
I think I'm doing as best as I can. It's quite difficult living in a world without him. But take it day by day. I call it that some days I'm on a hill, some days I'm in a valley. But if I make it to a plateau, I'm doing all right. But we soldier on. I've got a good support system, and my family, we're quite close and together, and we're supporting each other. Yes.
And how's the family doing?
My family,
so far as you can tell us, yeah.
As well as they can. Everybody's sort of settling into their new roles, new responsibilities. But I believe this has brought us even closer. We meet almost every day. We talk all the time, and so We're all trying our best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. From what we could see, Winnie, you were quite close with your father, traveled with him quite a bit.
Yes.
Could you talk to us about your relationship with your father?
Excuse me.
Take your time.
It's quite a difficult topic for me to discuss. We had a very complex relationship. He was my father, he was my party leader, he was my mentor. But he was also my closest friend. And coping with this difficult time without him has been quite difficult, yes.
Mm. You know, for those who watch you on various platforms, and I think, you know, from October the 15th, including even your recent trip to Kibra, and don't worry, we'll get to politics later. Many have drawn comparisons between you and your father. How much of you and who you are today is your father's making?
Well, I'd say 50%, isn't it? Because half is him, half is my mother. That's a very difficult question to answer. But ever since I finished university, I came back, and for the last 15 years, I've worked at his side. No matter the dispensation. And, well, we're similar in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, we were different. And one of the things is that we used to challenge each other, and we used to test each other and push each other, but I think what I missed more than anything is the honesty. So some of me is him, some of me is my mother, and some of me is just me.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you talk about being similar. What ideologies or principles do you share? In what ways, like you said, you challenged each other? In what ways did you have separate ideas or ideals?
I wouldn't say we had separate ideas or ideals. We may disagree on a method, but we always agreed on the end goal. But when we talk of ideology, social justice, providing platforms for people who have been marginalized, space for young people, allowing people to say what they want even if we didn't agree. There's no ideology he had that I think I had different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we would disagree on speed or time, but we never disagreed fundamentally. Yes.
There've been many contestations, I think, since your father's passing, about who spoke last with Raila Odinga, what he said to them, and this is something you've weighed in on as well recently.
No.
Now, without going into very deeply personal conversations that you had with your father, but what can you tell us about your last conversations with Raila Odinga?
Well, Yvonne, just as you said, they were deeply personal. And I feel it would be disrespectful of me to share those personal conversations that I had in private with the public. Not every conversation we had was for public consumption. Sometimes he was just my dad, and the night before he passed, we sat in his room for 2 hours discussing everything. So I feel that there are very many people, and when we come to politics, we'll discuss that, who may now say that the party leader may have said this and that. And I feel it's not incumbent on them to now bring that into the forefront, whether they believe it or not. I think it's lacking a sense of occasion. I think it's disrespectful to the departed. And I don't think that it would be appropriate for me to discuss that.
Thank you for being with us here. We have much, much more to talk about with you, Winnie Odinga. Like you said, there's much to talk about in the field of politics. Indeed, what lies next for you, we're looking forward to that conversation. And indeed, to the rest of you who want to send in your questions, comments, the hashtag is The Explainer at Citizen TV Kenya, at Yvonne Okwara. If you want to send us a text message, the number is 22422. We shall have more with Winnie Odinga in just a moment here on The Explainer. But first, let's talk about what's happening in the education sector. Learners from humble backgrounds in Kajiado County now set to join grade 10 after the conclusion of a community-driven fundraising for their education. The funds drive, now in its 8th year, sees families invest in an education fund that is supplemented by a clan-led communal fundraiser. This year's fundraiser collected at least 17 million shillings, easing the burden for hundreds of families in the county. Brenda Wanga reports.
In the heart of Kajiado County, the Ilmogesen clan is redefining the phrase, "It takes a village to raise a child." This largely pastoral community is pulling together for a cause that is not just dear to them, but is also at the very heart of their survival and prosperity, their children's education. One by one, they give what they have. The financial basket grows, and so does the hope for parents and 460 learners who would have missed this chance to further their studies.
Arambe ya Nabulor Mogeseni walisema watapatia kila jamii nafasi moja, maana tukisema tupatie kila jamii nafasi, kuna wale watalipa zaidi ya 2 maana wako na uwezo, na kuna wale hawana uwezo wanaweza tu kulipia mtoto mmoja.
The community, long plagued with high literacy rates, devised a way to change this by encouraging its members to pull together and ensure their children not only enroll but finish their education journey. In the past, the start of the school term was usually met with dread. This year particularly, the worry has intensified, especially for grade 10 learners whose parents have had to shoulder hefty financial burdens to admit their learners to school.
Sasa kwa hao watoto wa grade 10 wanahitaji kwenda shule, wala hatujapata chochote wa kupeleka. School fees hatujapata, nini ya kununulia nguo hakuna, hatujapata chochote.
Naongoja hiyo basari ndio niweze kwenda shule. Ningeomba hiyo basari ya community endelee ndio niweze kusoma nipate kesho future nzuri.
The education financing plan is modeled on what the clan terms as financial discipline. Each family must contribute a certain amount of money to the kitty depending on their economic strength.
Tunahakikisha kwamba wakati wanafunzi wako tayari wanataka kwenda kwa tuseme wala wanamaliza grade 9 wakati wanaenda grade 10, tunahakikisha kwamba tunakusanya hawa wazazi wote, tunaambia waweke pesa katika account fulani, which is a consolidated account.
The community then comes in to top up, filling the basket and sending all needy children to school. The impact of this plan is already evident.
Na tangu tumeanzisha hii, tumeona matokeo mzuri. Tumeona sasa kiwango ya masomo katika hii jamii imeenda juu by around 30% kulingana na wakati ule wengine kwa kiwango, kwa sababu tumehakikisha kwamba hawapati hiyo challenge.
It is a cycle of success. Former beneficiaries who once sat where these children are now often return to contribute to the very fund that rescued them.
Najua jambo muhimu ya kufanya leo ni mambo ya kuchangia mambo ya elimu. Lakini pia tunapata nafasi ya kujielimisha sisi wenyewe. Wengi wetu tushamaliza masomo, lakini elimu haishi.
This year's bursary kitty raised at least 17 million shillings, an amount that will turn admission letters for Koikai and his peers into opportunities not just for themselves but for the future of their community that has demonstrated without doubt that it indeed has their backs. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
A damning report by the Technical Working Group on Gender-Based Violence reveals that at least 34% of women have experienced physical violence since the age of 15. While presenting the report to President William Ruto, the Nancy Baraza-led team called for a crackdown on Airbnbs, lodgings and other commercial accommodation facilities, urging mandatory CCTV and heightened security to stem rising GBV cases. The team also recommends that anyone who fails to report these incidents be held accountable as an accomplice. Reporting now by Melita Olatengas.
After a year-long investigation into the scale of gender-based violence across all 47 counties, the Technical Working Group on GBV has submitted its findings to President William Ruto. The report paints a grim picture, revealing that 34% of Kenyan women have experienced physical violence since the age of 15, while 13% have suffered sexual violence in their lifetime. Between 2022 and 2024 alone, at least 1,639 women were killed, signaling a steady and alarming rise in GBV-related deaths. Most of these killings, the report shows, were committed by people known to the victims, often intimate partners or close family members. Women aged between 30 and 44 are the most affected, with Nairobi, Nakuru and Meru counties recording the highest number of reported femicide cases. The committee has also flagged widespread underreporting as a major concern, warning that silence is fueling the crisis.
They can scream and nobody turns up. In fact, we were told it is only dogs who come, which come. And then after the woman has died at the burial place, then everybody, this one we knew it was coming. And nobody reports to the police. Now, the Citizen Obligation Act will take care of that.
Among the key proposals is the mandatory installation of CCTV cameras in Airbnbs, lodgings and other commercial accommodation facilities. The report identifies these locations as hotspots for femicide, citing lack of monitoring and accountability as major contributors.
And we have in mind the Airbnbs because we found this is where most of the femicides are taking place. There is no accountability. There are no records.
Other recommendations include the creation of a national GBV and femicide fund, criminalizing clan or family interference in GBV cases, ending informal reconciliation practices, and enforcing a dedicated GBV and femicide police unit backed by law.
We have the law on murder, and murder carries a mandatory sentence. Why do you want a femicide law? And we are telling them femicide is different. And if we treat it as any other homicide, then we miss out. And as I have said, Your Excellency, we miss out on the motives.
President William Ruto, while receiving the report at State House, Nairobi, said the findings reflect the voices of Kenyans nationwide. Key ministries, including Interior and Tourism, will be involved in adopting and implementing the recommendations. Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV.
Two victims of the Kitengela club shooting are calling for an independent probe, alleging a possible cover-up by police officers. One victim remains in critical condition at the Kajiado Referral Hospital. They say that despite the attack 3 days ago, those involved, including a senior DCI officer, are roaming freely, with detectives having questioned and disarmed only one of the 3 officers present. Detectives and IPOA officers visited the crime scene on Tuesday, collecting CCTV footage to support their investigation. Katete Njoroge reports.
This CCTV at C&M Lounge captures events minutes before the shooting of 2 young men. In what appears to be a deadly confrontation, these 2 young men who had earlier been thrown out of the club come out armed with stones. One enters the club and throws it. What follows are sounds of gunshots. He lives in a huff. His friend throws in a stone. Another gunshot. He bends to dodge the bullet. He strikes again. The 2 then run towards the exit of the entertainment joint. It's here where one officer is reported to have followed them out, hiding behind the cars in the parking. He is alleged to have shot twice at the 2. CCTV footage outside Acacia West Arcade shows the 2 and others taking cover in the ensuing melee. Reports indicate by this time, 2 people had sustained gunshot wounds. One was shot 3 times and was rushed to Kajiado Referral Hospital. His friend sustained a single gunshot wound.
One is already undergone a surgery. The other one is awaiting specialized treatment for him to be assisted. This is actually a very sad situation.
Kanchori, who went to check on his clients at the hospital, says they are concerned by the pace of investigations. Despite the incident happening 3 days ago, there are no reports of arrest. Police have confirmed questioning and disarming a senior DCI officer who reportedly used his firearm during the altercation.
We have not seen any action taken by the police. We want to tell the Inspector General of Police and the DCI to ensure that no stone is left unturned for this situation, so that these young men can get justice and the people of this county and Kitengela can feel secure, not just on their businesses, but also that their life and property is protected.
Detectives from Kitengela and Isinya on Tuesday went back to the club where they collected more CCTV footage to aid in investigations. IPOA officials also visited the scene of crime for a similar mission as they conduct independent probe. A fact-finding mission to the business complex, and the business community raised concerns over recent cases of insecurity within the complex. According to traders, the shooting incident occurred just 24 hours after unknown assailants attacked the premises, where they allegedly tied security guards and bar attendants before stealing items worth millions of shillings.
Tungetaka polisi watupatie security, watuongezee. Kama itawezekana, watupatie AP awe hapa usiku, ndio hizi visa za ulagai, la wizi na kupigana marisasi zisiwe katika hii complex.
With the matter still under probe, questions linger on who the other two police officers were, why they have not recorded statements, what was the source of conflict that prompted the removal of the young men from the club minutes before they were captured attacking people with stones. When will police arrest the main culprit? Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Kajiado County.
The court has directed parties embroiled in the protracted battle for control of Direct Line Assurance Company, a market leader in public service vehicle insurance, to agree on which of the numerous pending applications should be consolidated in a bid to shift the focus of the case to its substantive issues of directorship and shareholding. During a mention on Tuesday of a contempt of court application against Royal Credit Limited chairperson Dr. S.K. Macharia, Justice Francis Gikonyo observed that the rise in number of applications was unduly delaying a matter that ought to have been concluded. He urged the parties to streamline the proceedings to allow the court to address the core dispute. Here's Citizen TV's Ben Kirui with more.
Royal Credit Limited chairperson Dr. S.K. Macharia arrived at the Milimani Law Courts at 9 a.m. Tuesday for the mention of a contempt of court application filed against him by the plaintiff. During the proceedings, Dr. Macharia, named as the defendant, raised a preliminary objection to the hearing of the contempt application, arguing that the court lacks a jurisdiction to entertain the matter.
Yes, my lord.
High Court Judge Justice Francis Gikonyo, however, directed the parties to streamline the case by reaching a consensus on compromising some of the numerous applications on record and instead focus on the substantive issues of shareholding and directorship.
Find the way out, a pragmatic approach, so that you get fairness. Okay. Speedy hearing.
Justice Gikonyo noted that the dispute had become increasingly contentious, with both majority and minority shareholders filing multiple applications and preliminary objections, an approach he said was slowing down a case that ought to have been concluded.
Yes, but you will note from the court records in various matters touching on shareholding and directorship that it's the plaintiff who keeps on filing application after application. If those applications can be done away with, then it will open an avenue for addressing the substance of the case.
Both parties agreed to comply with the court's directions and undertake consultations aimed at narrowing down the issues for determination.
The parties, through their counsel, will sign the written consent by you. They sign, so that there is no avenue of saying I didn't participate.
The case has drawn significant public attention, given that Direct Line Assurance is among Kenya's largest insurers of public service vehicles, PSVs. Tuesday's appearance was specifically in relation to the contempt of court application against Dr. Macharia.
In terms of showing cause, as you have cited, that is why my client has sworn an affidavit, showing cause as directed by the court, even knowing fully well that procedures were floated from the beginning. We would like you all to look at what we are raising carefully. Give us a decision on the same.
The court is scheduled to deliver its ruling on the defendant's preliminary applications on February 12th, 2026. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Let's take our first break here on The Explainer tonight. Coming up on Power Talk tonight, the PS in the State Department of ICT and Digital Economy, that's Engineer John Tanui, is here with us. We'll be talking about Kenya's digital transformation journey. Where do we stand with that, and where are we going to next? So that is after the break, including our continued conversation with Winnie Odinga. MP Iyala will be speaking a lot about her father's legacy, her own political career and future, and much, much more here on The Explainer tonight. All of that is coming up after this break. Lots to get into. Please do stay with us. On Power Talk tonight, PS for ICT and Digital Economy Engineer John Tanui speaks on the progress of the country's digital transformation journey.
And we need 2 Royco cubes because iron gives you strength to skuma yourself to be the best you can be.
Try the new Royco Chili Cube for the perfect heat. Sometimes I need a fragrance to keep me calm, stays fresh in the heat and feels elegant into the night, lasting longer than expensive perfumes. New Downy, lavender calm, sunrise fresh and sweet elegance, freshness that inspires confidence.
Welcome to Extraordinary Splash and Drive Car Wash Kamakis. Enjoy premium services, body wash, buffing, interior detailing, carpet cleaning done to perfection. Find us along the Eastern Bypass, Kamakis. Call 0727 941 734.
Royal Mabati Factory Limited brings you January offers. Get corrugated and box profile at 388 per meter, brick tile at 401 and Roman tile at 500. Relax at home and enjoy free delivery countrywide. Call us on 0722 638383 or order now at www.royalmabati.com.
Oh, darling! Mar! Rosita! Rosita, the selling sold! Mar! What happened? Rosita! Open your eyes, my dear! Mar, I'm here!
On Power Talk this week, we're taking a look at Kenya's digital transformation journey, and we're here with the Principal Secretary, Engineer John Tanui, in the State Department for ICT and the Digital Economy. PS, thank you very much for being with us here on the program. Let's start by talking about the country's digital transformation journey. What is the overarching vision for this?
Thank you, Yvonne, for having me tonight here. It's quite exciting to be here to discuss about what we are doing in the digital superhighway. This is part of our economic transformation of our country under the bottom-up transformation agenda and also under our Kenya Digital Master Plan. So we are embarking on connectivity, ensuring that broadband connectivity is extended across the country. That's the most primary foundational work we are doing together with our private sector. We are very proud in Kenya to have very strong private sector, mobile network operators, internet service providers, and many other players, global players. We are also working on digitization, supporting various state departments to ensure that their services are available to the citizens in a digital format and ensure it is easy. You can access anytime, 24 from your comfort of your phone. We are also working to see that we unlock opportunities for our young people through digital skilling, working with various partners to ensure that our young people can access opportunities and monetize their creations. We are also working with global players, various government agencies, to make Kenya also attractive and become a destination for investment and also a very innovative country. Yeah.
Now, building this digital superhighway, fiber optic expansion is quite important.
Yes.
What's the state of that as of 2026?
Yeah, so when we established the Kenya Digital Master Plan, the estimation was about 500 billion to actually implement this project the way it was intended, to ensure every public institution, over 74,000 of them, are connected with broadband connectivity, to ensure also that we are able to build the required redundancies, do the training, build the digital hubs, and that was the biggest challenge, is how to attract funding. And we are very proud of the work we've done with the leadership of our president, our minister, and cabinet and parliament. We've been able to access, with the challenges of limitation of funding, we've accessed quite good funding through Universal Service Fund, through the National Treasury Exchequer, and also with our development partners from global. We have World Bank, we have Friends of Kenya, countries like Belgium, we have China, we have South Korea, and all this funding has helped us now to make progress. So in terms of connectivity, we can say from 2022, we have built what we had by adding about over 30,000 kilometers of fiber, both by public sector and private sector. Using the Universal Service Fund, we changed the model and working with Kenya Power so that it is faster and at lower cost. And we are able now to, we are implementing about 12,000 kilometers with Kenya Power. And you'll be seeing a blue cable on top of Kenya Power going to a public institution. Several places are already reached, and this is ongoing. We've also seen the private sector from 2022 to now, ISPs. We've increased the home connections of fiber and businesses by a million. So the number of broadband mobile connections fixed has increased from 1.1 million to over 2.1 million. And so these are some of the progress we've made. In respect to the area of digitization, we are very proud of the achievement. eCitizen, for example, with less than 540 services, talking about 22,000 services, is actually a world record in terms of that traction, in terms of services that were made available online. Building a platform with over 16 million users. Daily, over 500,000 people access that service. Imagine if all these people were to visit an office. The transformation is really impactful, and removal of issue of having to interact with people. So it removes issues of corruption. It lowers the cost of access to service. You don't need to travel anywhere from the comfort of your home. There's still some work to be done, but we are very happy with the progress done, and we are encouraging the parties that involve in the ecosystem of eCitizen now to expand and make this solution available to the rest of the African continent. So we'll be having startups that can scale, and when you visit them, they have over 300 young people, engineers working, powering them. Healthcare, to achieve the digital transformation in healthcare, digital platform have played a very big role. Today, with about 29 million registered users in the healthcare system. So the digital platform is playing a very significant role, giving us data that we didn't have in the past. Today we have real-time data that from morning to now, how many people were served in our facilities, what kind of issues, so we can make decisions now based on real data. Okay. So the future is good. We are going on in the other sectors, agriculture, education, and the rest of the digitization that we are working on.
What's the latest with respect to the Konza Phase 1 infrastructure?
Konza, we are very proud with the progress we've made. Kenya embarked on a journey to build a city from scratch, from a farmland, greenland. And I was privileged to be the CEO, joining when we had only land. Today we are proud. The phase 1 of the infrastructure, original infrastructure, was launched by His Excellency the President, and we have the latest infrastructure that really are in first world. When you talk about solid waste management system, which is automated, we have infrastructure built, what we call streetscapes, to world class, where you integrate the green spaces, utilities, and the roads together, lighting, ICT infrastructure infrastructure. So we have completed horizontal infrastructure. Now we have the Research Institute, the first of its kind, the most equipped research institute, which will be offering master's and PhD degrees ready, and this year will admit its students. We are waiting for the Charter Award. We believe in the next few months the charter will be awarded. These will be the wheels that will drive Kenya to what we call knowledge economy, and actually the first world. So research institutions like that, we host the Open University of Kenya at Konza, writing on the digital infrastructure, the National Data Center, now having over 20,000 students within 2 years. To achieve 20,000 as a university is not easy, and this was a new concept, fully online, lowering the cost of access to education, bringing convenience to students and Kenyans from all over, also allowing the rest of the continent to access Kenyan education system. Yeah. We also have attracted now investors. I think very soon now the most important part we are looking forward was jobs, the number of jobs to be created. Some of the caps we had was housing. Yeah. But we have about 3,000 housing under construction at Konza.
Now, for a digital economy to work, you need trust and you need security. What sort of steps are you taking in terms of building that into the ecosystem?
Yeah, trust and security of the ecosystem is very important. When we talk about the digitization we've done, connectivity we have done to extend the access through public Wi-Fi. It opens more spaces for attack for our country. And digital space, just like a physical space, has risk. And many investors, before they come to a country, they look at various things. So we have been able to attract investors in various areas in the tech space. We have more than 9 data centers currently in Kenya. We have development centers, including Microsoft, Amazon. Recently, Apple established Apple Authorized Center. We have BPOs who have come to Kenya, including world's #1 Teleperformance, which entered Kenyan market last year. So there is this interest. But one of the things they consider is how the market is set up. And we are very happy with our legislators. They were able to establish what the Office of the Data Commissioner. This has ensured that personal data is protected. We have the legislation, we have regulations, we have an office with a clear mandate, and has helped to address the issues of handlers and the processors of data. And tomorrow is the International Day of Data Protection, and we are very happy with the work which is going on with that office, and it is one of the things that's attracting us. We are in a process to achieve what we call adequacy. That means Kenya and EU to be almost at the same level of trust. On cybersecurity, this is an area we are also working very hard to improve, first building capacity with our human resource in government. We've got support from various UN agencies. We have courses that we are running with UNDP. We have courses we are running with UNICEF to ensure that our people are skilled. Secondly, we are working on ensuring we have the right systems to secure our digital platforms. We are, the cabinet recently approved establishment of an independent agency that will be fully dedicated to cybersecurity, to ensure that all matters cybersecurity, the way we have the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, we have an office dedicated to cybersecurity. We are also working on necessary legislations. We have the AI strategy in place. We are working on the policy. We are working on the data governance to ensure that the ecosystem is well supported.
As we close, maybe in a minute or two, if you can, everything we have discussed here so far, how does this all fit in towards ensuring inclusive growth of an economy?
Digital infrastructure is actually the bridge. It's what closes the bridge in terms of ensuring ease of access, lowering costs for all, and ensuring that no part of the country is left out. We've adopted solutions including satellite solutions like Starlink to ensure that areas that would not be able to achieve broadband are able to take advantage of that. We have TVETs in remote areas that would actually not be able to achieve broadband, so they are working on that. Secondly, this digital infrastructure are delivering opportunities for our people. We have many young creators who are able to monetize with their digital platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, and many others. And we are very proud of the work we are doing with the tech giants like Meta, YouTube, and the others, because they have helped our young people with digital skilling and also enable them to monetize their knowledge. So people are able to use these digital platforms for jobs. We have also seen people working from remote areas. People get jobs and work remotely as online workers. We are also happy that the digital hubs that we committed to do one in every ward is getting good traction. We've done over 300 in our TVET institutions with members of parliament. There are about 500 under construction, and we were happy that they made a change in the law so that CDF can be utilized to be able to avail this digital infrastructure. The pressure we have now is to ensure that we support them to give them devices in all of them and ensure there is fiber connectivity and training programs and linkage to opportunities. But the progress we have made in digital space is quite exciting. This morning we were at the office of the Attorney General, and the progress they are making there is amazing. We were delivering devices to ensure that they are able to digitize their content, and they are also able to stop generating now manual records anymore by adopting case management records and digitization. And this is what we'll be doing across government. So there is quite inclusivity that is achieved through digital infrastructure.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Engineer John Tanui, Principal Secretary for ICT and the Digital Economy, speaking to us about Kenya's digital superhighway and how that makes Kenya a globally competitive economy. Thank you very much for being with us on Power Talk.
Thank you, Ipo.
Welcome back to The Explainer. We thank you for staying with us. We continue our conversation here on the program tonight with Winnie Odinga, MP Yala. She's live here with us at Citizen TV Kenya, at Yvonne Okwara. For your questions or comments, please use the hashtag The Explainer. The text message number is 22422, so please feel free to get in touch with us. Winnie, thank you for staying with us. I want us to, we left our conversation with, the conversations you had with Raila Odinga. I want us to, take it up from there. Did he ever talk to you about the broad-based government, the future of ODM?
Absolutely. There's seldom a thing we didn't speak about. He spoke to me about his thoughts, his ideas, his wishes. However, he was quite present to the fact that after his time, people may feel differently. People may want to take different directions. But he believed in their right to do so because it is a democracy. So we did discuss quite a few different things.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And because that has been the subject of lots of conversation, about the future of this. I guess we'll listen to some of what you have said about this, including what he said about where he leaves the party, whether in government or not. If we have that, I'd like us to listen to it. You said Baba did not say he left us in government. I'd like us to listen.
Na wale wanasema ati sijui baba aliwaambia sijui nini ati. Hiyo ni kukosa adabu. Nyamazeni bwana. Hiyo ni kukosa adabu. Tulieni bana. Everything baba alikuwa anasema mbele ya watu wake.
So tell us about this. Baba did not say he left us in government. What did you mean by that?
Well, he didn't. I believe if he did, you'd play that clip as well. The last thing he mentioned, which was during an ODM PG at Argyle Hotel, and people were asking about that matter, he said, who told you ODM will not field a candidate in 2027? So those that are now saying that in secret he told them, who told them? Because everything he said, he used to say to all of us in front of us. He was not a duplicitous leader. He did not say something in the morning and go and try something else at night. So when I raised those statements, it was out of the concern that certain people or certain quarters are trying to achieve something which doesn't necessarily stand for the creed of the ODM party, and perhaps could be taking advantage of a situation for their own gain.
What do you think they're trying to achieve with that?
Your guess is as good as mine. But you see, Yvonne, something that has happened in society, and this has happened in every society, whether it was in Europe or in Asia when empires fell, power was moved from the center to focusing on the needs of the people. So Kenya has, in my view, three issues that take 2 or 3 parts, maybe. The first is the unwillingness or the inability for the leaders to recognize that the desires of their people has changed. This is not 30 years ago. People want servant leadership. They don't want to be called somewhere and told this is what's happening. They need to be consulted in the process. And as far as anybody in ODM is concerned, they're used to that because Baba consulted everybody. The second issue is the manipulation of those in the lower classes to a point where they have to bargain between their survival and their dignity. And the third is the personalization of policy, that if you don't agree with this or something, it's so tied to a person, the cult of personality, that it becomes a feud. It becomes something people want to say, you know. I've seen in the media myself as a headline very many times, all in feuds. It's not a personality war. It's not a private war. It's fighting for the soul and the creed of what the members of ODM believe in.
So what was Raila's last political wishes? What's that creed of ODM that according to you, in your conversations with him?
For the past 40 years, Raila has been a defender of social justice. He's fought for the upward social mobility of the people of Kenya. The D in ODM stands for democracy. People are allowed to speak. He once said that even though I may not agree with what you say, I will defend your right to say it. The M is movement. And if we've started a journey of bettering the lives of people, you cannot have people still living in pathetic conditions, living undignified lives, and you say you've made a deal, and now we relax. No, the movement means we keep on moving until the lives of as many people as we can possibly impact are improved. So that is what Raila Odinga believed in.
All right. I'd like us to listen to something else you did speak about. And, you know, I think we've seen you in Kibra lately, in Bondo and in Mombasa. Those have been some of the key moments we've seen you in. But you did talk about, you know, the origins of ODM and what you claim some people want to do with it. You talked about ODM not being born in the bedroom. I'd like us to listen.
ODM si chama kilichozaliwa kama siri. Nasikia kuna wengine ambao wanatembea nasi mchana lakini usiku wanajaribu kuuza hii chama. Haiwezekani. ODM was not born in a bedroom. It was not made in a bedroom. So its future will not be discussed as pillow talk. It has been the heartbeat of the Kenyan people for 20 years. ODM was born from protest. It was raised in resistance. And the people of ODM have time and time again bled, sweat, and shed tears for this country called Kenya. We are sorry that we don't always get it right. Oleni. But we will never be sorry for being inconvenient. They like to call us a party of goons. What we're doing is nation building. Nation building is untidy. Nation building is inconvenient. Nation building is uncomfortable. Nation building has left us in tears as ODM, as the People's Party, time and time again. But we, ODM, belong to the people. And we will continue growing because the young people of ODM have conviction.
So, Winnie, you said ODM's future will not be discussed as pillow talk. Is it? And by whom?
Well, that's a figure of speech. The same way you have an accent, I have one. It's a figure of speech. What I was alluding to is secret talks or private talks. I feel the party has not done its or fulfilled its mandate in an open manner. For example, our party leader died. The party has not once come and addressed us as members to inform us our party leaders died. They've picked a new team. The party has not once come to address and tell us they have picked a new team. The next day we wake up and they're saying they're in new talks. They have not once come to consult us. So the figure of speech of seems to be a clique that does things in private and dictates to the party members is not the style of ODM, and so that's what I was alluding to.
All right. You say that has not been done in terms of formally addressing the party members. One of the first key decisions that was made right after Raila Odinga passed was the installation of Dr. Oburu Oginga as the party leader.
Yes.
Is that a decision that you think was done procedurally?
The decision of procedure is not up to Winnie Odinga. It's written in the ODM constitution. And this, I don't want this to be personalized on the matter of my uncle, as though this is a private matter that we're being discussed in public. I love my uncle loves me. I know under the screen you have that rolling screen that tells people what the speaker has said. Please, that should be the headline. Winnie loves her uncle and her uncle loves her. The matter is people misrepresenting themselves and moving in a manner that I feel is not respectful to the creeds of the party. I don't believe they've acted in a manner that was respectful to the wishes and creed of the former party leader. I also don't believe, I know for a fact, that they are not being respectful to the constitution of ODM. The constitution of ODM, not written by Winnie Odinga, says that no member of the Central Committee or the NEC is able to act on behalf of the party of ODM unless they are ratified by the NDC. That is not a personality matter on the party leader. That includes the chair, the current deputy chairs, and many people in that committee. Therefore, misrepresenting themselves, and at a time when they should have been informing the party, giving us a way forward, the party was mourning their leader. They forced a celebration during a mourning period. They went and did an NGC and misrepresented that they are the ones in charge, knowing very well they are not in charge, until an NDC happens. They've gone further to begin talks. They are unable to begin talks. If there was somebody sneaky, they could actually go to court. They are not following the procedure, which to me shows a lack of good faith, a lack of goodwill, a lack of, they're unwilling to listen to dissenting voices. People question, people say anything. The custodian of our constitution is the SG. And all of a sudden, people are being told to leave. That is not ODM.
So, Dr. Oburu Oginga should not be party leader. What would you suggest would be the remedy for that?
I think Dr. Oburu Oginga is a wonderful acting party leader in this transition period. We were all caught in a shock, and he's steadying the ship. This is not a very easy ship to steady, but he's weathering the storm, and he has said it very many times that he's acting transitionally and will make space for other young people. On the personality, my uncle has lived a life of determination, of strength, of loyalty. It would not be incumbent to me, or Winnie Odinga would be the last person that at his age of 82 years would allow his image or his legacy to be besmirched by a political tug of war. What some may seem as perhaps antagonism is actually protection, in my view. And we are very happy with him being in the position that he is. And after seeing the manner of how some people are behaving, he's certainly the best person in that position.
Even though that was not procedural, as you've just said?
The procedure is still being done, as I've told you. They are still acting until the NDC is done. So the party must do the correct thing. he is the best in that seat right now.
So let me ask you this, because Dr. Oburu Oginga is your uncle, he's your father's elder brother. He's now the party leader. At what point during a rally, he'd said, in response to remarks similar to what you're making here today, he said, hayo mambo tutaongea nyumbani. Is there a family feud between Dr. Oburu Oginga
absolutely
and yourself?
If there was a family feud, I really doubt he would discuss it. He would tell me that in public. He's a funny guy. His humor is different. And actually, all our humor is different. And mambo ya nyumbani tunaongea nyumbani. But mambo ya chama is not to be discussed at home. And when it comes to the party, any member of this family or this party or this society is free to discuss. And I believe Dr. Oburu will be the first person to defend my right to have differing opinions.
So what's your relationship with him at the moment?
I love him. He's my only dad. I don't know why this has become national news. I've told you, and I've said it very many times, I love my uncle. Our family is tight. This is who we are. And we have absolutely no problems at all. You said we're having a family meeting. We've had several. And I feel that is just a private matter.
On the political front, he is leading a group or a section of ODM members who are calling for a pre-election coalition pact between ODM and UDA. What are your thoughts around this proposal? Because it seems to have split the party down the middle.
The trouble with Kenya is always making things dichotomous. You have to understand how ODM came into this situation. We had some disputes after the election. Shortly after that, a year or two later, the young people of Kenya went to the streets. The matter became extremely elevated. My father, in his wisdom, tried to bring the two factions aside. The Gen Z faction, of course, said they were leaderless and were unwilling to have any sort of talks. So he went around meeting different people of society and came up with what he felt were the pertinent issues they were discussing. And that is the 10-point agenda. Okay? That 10-point agenda was promulgated on the 26th of August, 2024. It has an expiry date, which is the 7th of March, 2026. In that document, he also says that this is not a coalition agreement. So he put that date so that at that point, we would review how far are we on the issue of social justice, on anti-corruption, and all the other 8 points. And then we review our terms based on that. And I feel as the fourth estate, you may be asking the wrong question, asking Winnie if she loves her uncle or not. The question you should be asking, on point number 1, where have we reached? On point 2, where have we reached? Because this was a social contract with the people of Kenya. Therefore, if you trash it and you have not completed it, then on what basis are you negotiating for the people of Kenya, of the people of ODM? On what you promised them something. It cannot be trashed simply because Raila Odinga died. On what basis are you negotiating? That is the basis. The 10-point agenda is the basis and the beginning of negotiation, in my view.
I'd like us to listen once again to something you said in Kibra over the weekend. You were saying, hamanitishi, hamani babaishi. Can we listen to that first?
Vitisho vya peni mbili vitanifanya mimi nini? Amnitishi, amnibabaishi. Nasikia kuna watu wengine walisema hatuwezi kuja hapa. Hakuna siku baba aliwahi let anybody atoke kwenye hii chama. Wanaongea sana na tukiuliza maswali wanasema tutoke kwenye chama. Tukitoka watabaki na nani kwenye hii chama?
Nani anakutisha Winnie?
Anajijua. You see,
tuambie ni nani?
No, we've reached a point, and I have to speak this on behalf of the leaders of ODM, because I'm the only one who's able to say it. People are being intimidated in the party of ODM. People are being de-whipped simply for showing up on that stage with me. People I did not even invite. But by being removed in committees, in county assemblies, in parliaments. We've reached a situation where you're being told to fill out forms on whether you support the regime of the day. If you do, then you'll be given TSC slots. If you don't, God knows what happens to you. There is full-on intimidation of members.
On what basis? Why is there intimidation?
I feel that those in the party that have a different agenda and are hell-bent on achieving this agenda, no matter what it may take. And
who are those?
How much are you going to pay me?
I don't pay for interviews. Keep going.
I don't reveal all secrets. As much as I'm honest, I don't reveal all secrets. But I can't do it. I can't do it because it's going to put certain people in a lot of trouble, simply because of the level of intimidation that we're in. Now, Winnie Odinga in Kibra, there was a joke a cousin of mine said that when you see Winnie grabbing a mic, no, things are terrible. Winnie Odinga standing there in Kibra had not tried all other options of recourse with people of leadership. I have tried to speak to them, I've tried to tell them, we cannot leave the people behind. And so when you see something happening that is going the wrong way, lazima utupe mchanga. You have to do what you have to do.
Who have you spoken to in the leadership of the party and told about your concerns?
Who do you know to be in the leadership of the party?
Well, there's several people. Who have you spoken to?
Several. Mm-hmm.
What was their response?
It's played out in the public.
You said, we will not leave this party which we fought for. Are you a member of the ODM party?
Yes, I'm a lifetime member.
Because that's been a question for some people.
It cannot be a question because I'm an elected member of parliament that represents the people of Kenya in a regional parliament nominated by my party, the ODM, the Orange Democratic Movement Party. It cannot be a question. It's obvious. One precedes the other. And as I stand there, I represent the people of Kenya. We don't necessarily have constituencies. So my only constituency is the people of Kenya. And therefore, I do everything and move every way and make every decision in regard to the people of Kenya. If we go to an NDC and the people of the party say this is what they want, then I'll sleep well that night, knowing that the people have ratified the decision. But the most important channel or the largest, strongest organ of the party is the people of Kenya, and their voice is heard in the NDC. As it stands, the party is only utilizing 2 organs. We have several. So for me, ODM was not also an SPV. Some people have parties where they do what they want and throw it. This is a party for 20 years. So if a child was born 20 years, now they're in university. So somebody whose party started 2 years ago, those are kindergartners. Those are not the ones to tell us where we are. This party will have different opinions. It will have different choices. But this party belongs to the people. We have never moved a step without them. We will not begin now.
Have you tried to call for an NDC? Is this something you've discussed with the leaders of, like having these discussions with them first before?
Yes. But there's a process to an NDC.
Yeah.
For example, you don't just call an NDC to ratify leaders. That's just one agenda in an NDC. What are some of the reforms? What are some of the agendas you have for the people? We're going to an election next year. You also have to tell them what you've done and what you've not done and why you've not achieved it. But there are certain reforms that this party has to go through. This party has to be refreshed. This party has to move from being so centralized and send resources to the grassroots, help its grassroots offices grow, help those people recruit other members. This party cannot be restricted to one area of its chambers. It's got very many avenues. And therefore, for me, that is what I'll be seeing at the NDC, the reforms, the refreshment, and the restoration of the party ideals. That's what I think the NDC is about.
Is there an appetite for an NDC within the leadership of the party? Based on your conversation or observations with them? The procedure of course, calling for an NDC aside, but based on your conversations with them.
Yes. Well, certainly they've been going around rallying support for that. Mm-hmm. I don't know everybody's personal agenda, but certainly you've heard that we are at least speaking on the same page on that one, from the same script on that page.
Okay. I'd like us to talk about some of those, the members of the leadership, and indeed many who have talked about conversations they've had, last conversations they've had with your father. And some of them include the leadership. Maybe we can start by talking about some of those conversations, about some of these people in your father's life. Let's start by talking about Junet Mohammed. He has said he was close to your father, he was a confidant. What do you know about him and the relationship with your father based on your observations around Raila Odinga?
I'm not somebody who will rewrite history now. Junet was a close confidant of my father. And I think Junet will speak on Junet. And I was not party to every conversation my father had. What I'm saying is nobody was. And nobody knows what he wanted, including myself. Our only point of reference is things like this 10-point agenda. The only point of reference is his manifesto. The only point of reference is what he said in public. So his private conversations and relationships, again, like I told you earlier, I don't believe is appropriate for me to discuss about.
How about Gladys Wanga, who's the chair of the party as well? Many have spoken about, the direction of the party. What's your relationship with the party chair?
She's the governor of Homa Bay, a position that I believe is momentous, especially in that region, electing women to high office. I believe she believes she's correct, and I believe she's doing what she believes is correct for the party.
Do you believe that what she's doing is correct for the party?
I believe she's trying her best. This is not an easy thing to do. I believe she's trying her best and maneuvering very many things, including governing the county and still traveling around the country throughout our days. And I believe she's trying her best.
Is her best good enough?
I'm not the owner of the grade sheet to say what's a pass, what's a fail. I believe.
But you are a party member.
Yeah, but I believe her question will come to the people of Homa Bay, and they'll decide if her best was good enough.
How about for the party?
Like I said, until an NDC ratifies, she's still there in acting capacity. And it's also unfortunate that she just became chair and the party leader, the head, the light, suddenly died. And that brought a lot of confusion. So I believe she's trying her best.
All right. I want to ask about another gentleman whom we saw emerging, I think, in towards the end. There's a gentleman that calls himself Okech Sala. We've seen video clips of him. He says he was close to your father until the end. He claims he funded some trips, and he has some things to say about the party, but most of all about Raila Odinga. He calls himself Raila Odinga's adopted son. Winnie, do you know Okech Sala?
I've met him. But I'd like to believe nobody really knows him. I also feel sad for him. You know, my father died, and that was a very traumatic experience for me. But at least he died with somebody he knew loved him. And I believe people need to take better care of their loved ones. And mental health is a really important thing. When you live here and you go on Thika Road, there are two options. You either turn right as you're going to Mathare, or you turn left and you're going to DCI. Because a flat-out lie that you were there at the time of my father's death and you were not, talking things that did not occur, is quite dangerous. It makes me question a lot of things. What would be those intentions? So I believe they're just two places that should be rushed with immediate effect, one or the other.
I'd like us to talk about family and politics, because that's sort of the direction we're heading into. And about your mother, Canon Ida Odinga. She's also a political figure. I mean, politically, she wields quite a bit of influence. Some say that when you speak, that a lot of that is her will, is her words, is her influence on you. To what extent has that shaped who you are today? We talked about your father. How about your mother?
I believe my mother has also shaped me in equal measure. She's a strong woman who has done everything in her own right, on her own merit. And she's somebody I've always admired. And so looking up to her to advice is a normal thing. We have a normal mother-daughter relationship. But certainly even she cannot control everything that I do.
Mm-hmm. Any comments to her recent nomination to Kenya's permanent representative and ambassador to UNEP?
No, I'm extremely proud of her. Well, the whole family is proud of her. Like I said, she deserves it. She stood on her own for the past 40 years. In fact, before this, the last thing any government or president ever gave her was retiring her as a teacher 40 years ago. But she stood firm, loyal, strong, has fought for the rights of women. She's a geography teacher, has fought for different aspects of this society. She's a member of the society that I believe many people look up to, and I believe she deserves and has earned it. And I'm extremely, extremely proud of her.
Why do you think that appointment has triggered so much public debate? There have been people who've asked her not to take up the position. We recently heard her accepting the nomination. Why do you think there's so much public debate around it? And what's your response to it? Should it?
I couldn't answer that directly. How I feel is pride. So I couldn't speak for those people. Perhaps you'd ask them.
How do you feel about the people that say she shouldn't take it up?
What are their reasons? What I'm asking you.
No, some of them say she shouldn't, and this is tokenism, and doing this just because Raila Odinga and President William Ruto were in some sort of working relationship, and that she doesn't deserve this. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it on out on social media, her background and whether she's the right person for this, and that this is something that shouldn't happen. That spouses shouldn't necessarily be given this as a reward rather than on merit. Do you think your mother merits this position?
I absolutely believe she merits it. Mm-hmm. She's qualified, she's educated, she's had experience governing and managing at very high levels with the society. And I believe she's earned a position of respect within the society. The nature of Kenya is, there's an idea or a feeling of scarcity. Every time somebody gets something, somebody else will also feel that perhaps they're the ones who deserved it. But I believe she's going to do the right thing, and I believe she deserves it.
While we're still talking about family, you went to Kibra with your brother over the weekend. How do you relate with him at a family, and also I don't know if there's any political level. I mean, you have to understand you are a political family, and the Odinga name has dominated Kenya's politics scene for decades, since independence with your grandfather. But so talk to us about you and your brother and why you went to Kibra over the weekend. Aside from, you said walisema musikanyage huko, so mulienda huko kufanya nini haswa?
Again, you know, Yvonne, I've never seen you interview anybody and ask them this many personal questions about their interpersonal relationship. He's my brother. I don't know, I find that question ridiculous. How do we relate? We're cool. He's my big brother. Kibra is a place we've been going for over 40 years. It's home. It's a neighborhood. We go there. We've always been there. We know the places when we're there, where we go and who we interact with. We were not put in certain, how do you say it, pockets, shielded away from society. We grew up as part of this situation. I'll tell you, Yvonne, for example, I believe the reason you're asking me all these questions is you're trying to figure me out. And I understand I'm an anomaly in a sense. A person who's grown up in a certain background, and those that have the experience I have seek different futures. And there are those who get in positions of power, and when they get there, it's my turn to eat, and they want to eat everything. And they've got a scarcity mindset. I don't come from a scarcity mindset. I don't have that mindset. I chose the people. I went to school, I did what I had to do. I chose to come back to Kenya. I'm sitting here in front of you 3 months after my father died, having had to suspend my mourning because I see that what is going on with the people is not necessarily right. And that is who Odingas are. So we are different personalities with different skill sets. But at the end of the day, I can tell you where the people are, where the Odingas will be.
I'd like us to continue to listen to some of the statements you made in Bondo at the burial of Raila Odinga. You did make a statement about wanting to come home. You said you are ready to come back home. Let's listen to it.
Your Excellency, our people appreciate you honoring our father. Thank you for standing with us. You should also know, in case you are wondering, I'm ready to come back home, if you are wondering. To all the leaders we visited around the world, I will return personally to thank you. Thank you, Kenya. God bless you all. God bless the Republic. God bless Baba's legacy. Long, the king is dead, but long live the crown.
What do you mean you're ready to come back home and you were speaking to the president directly?
I think it's self-explanatory. When called upon, I serve the country. I am serving the country at a regional level. But my heart always belongs in Kenya. Kenya owns my heart. And I would like to be back home with the people.
What would you like to do back home?
Whatever the people want me to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this was addressed directly to President Ruto.
Yeah.
Were you asking him for a job?
No, I was not.
What were you asking him for?
I wasn't asking him for anything. I was telling him that I would love to come back home.
Okay.
Yes.
What would you like to come back home and do? I mean, there's anything, but you strike me as a woman of purpose.
Yeah.
So is it just anything?
I think we're not quite understanding each other. Like I explained earlier, I'm a person who stands with the people, wherever they want. Right now, there's talk about me standing in very many positions. If the people tell me they want me to be a local politician, perhaps an MCA, that is what I'll do. If they tell me they want me to work at different capacities, if they tell me they want me to go back to Yala, that is what I'll do. My concern is that the voice of the people is not being heard in this country. I mean, within the ODM party. And my concern is the voice of the young people is not being amplified or is being completely squeezed out. For me, where the young people have space, it doesn't matter to me a lot of the political inclinations. I am wherever young people have space, because there are those who say one term, those who say two term, and I say young people are no term, because they never get a term to do anything in this country. So for me, until that space is opened up for more young Kenyans, I'm ready to stand in the gap, so to speak.
So in terms of political ambitions, you say it's where the people will ask you to, but do you have any ideas of what you want to do? Because I'm sure you've thought about it, have you?
Not particularly, Yvonne. You know, I have been mourning. That's not necessarily how I think. I think in terms of needs. When we went to Kibra the other day, we went to a former chairman's house who had just died. You know, deep in Laini Saba, we went to the home. The living conditions. The people there told me they had not had water for 3 weeks. Their power is being rationed. Life is difficult. I get messages every day about school fees. When you have your cousin in the village who just got a seaplane and no university is accepting him, and you have to keep sending money even though there's no option for him. These are Baba's people. When you have a lady who used to work for Mzungu, and one day USAID had been cut, the Zungus left, she now has nowhere to take her kids. She has she's impacted by decisions. Where do you take the people? These are Baba's people. When you have somebody deep in Changamwe who is crying, somebody they love is dying of a disease, where do we take these people? The quality of life, the quality of enjoyment of life, of upward social mobility, is the most important thing to members of ODM. Therefore, Baba had these millions of people in all corners. I've gotten calls from Ijara, from Tokchok, from Namanga. People who feel stranded, people who feel hopeless, people who feel that the conversation they are having is completely different from the conversation the leaders are choosing to have with them. What do we do with these people? So for me, it doesn't matter, Yvonne, if they tell me to stand on top of the roof and sing every day. If that will improve the quality of lives of these people, of Baba's people, I will do it. 90% of people who joined the ODM party believed in Baba. They are mourning too. They are lost too. So the conversation has to be centered on them. It cannot be centered on whether I love this family member or this one. It cannot be centered on if I want a job or not. It cannot be centered on shenanigans and wrangles. The only conversation the leadership of ODM should be having now is the well-being of the people of Kenya. A year and a half to elections, you want to enter a football match, you don't even know if the referee has a whistle or if he has boots. You're talking about so many things. This IBC, are they prepared? Have we reached our milestones? Because that will impact everything. These people, what are their social needs? Are we fulfilling them? When we're having conversations with other people and talks, what is agenda number 1? What's number 2? What's 3? What's 4? Number 1 to 4 is the people of Kenya. That's what it has always been for Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. And that's what it will always be for me.
What if you're called, because you say, you know, you want to serve the people's needs and the social needs. What if you're called to serve those needs at government level? When if you're offered a position as cabinet secretary, principal secretary, or any other senior level in government, would you accept it?
I certainly would have to have a conversation. And what my people feel now. You see, we're in a very precarious place in this society now. When you say you support one side, you alienate yourself from the other, and vice versa. In my opinion, it'd be irresponsible to say this side or the other side. It's like asking me to pick between tea or coffee. My concern is about the quality of the beverage, not the quality of the cup. So if some quarters feel that that is not appropriate, if I talk to the people and they feel that is not appropriate, then that is what will happen. If I talk to the people and they ask me to do that, then that is what will happen. I don't feel I am the voice to fan flames of division on that matter. I think it's already a very divisive...
Do you think that would be a divisive issue if you were asked to serve or if you're offered a job by the president?
Yeah, I believe so. Most things we do are maybe not divisive, but maybe inflammatory. Maybe there are those who may feel I'm not qualified. Maybe many things.
Do you think you're qualified to be a cabinet secretary?
I know I'm qualified.
Under this administration?
I'm qualified under any administration until the Constitution of Kenya is changed. But what the Constitution says is required for somebody to become a cabinet secretary. I have.
I ask this because some would ask whether President William Ruto is courting the family, or maybe it's the other way around, considering your statement telling the president you are ready to come back home, because you went to IALA on the basis of being a member of
ODM.
But yet you were directing your request to come back home to President William Ruto, who is party leader of UDA.
Well, I was not speaking on party lines. I was speaking at the funeral of my father, who you know had reached his arm across the aisle. I also went to IALA by getting support from both sides of the aisle. That is what an established democracy is. On the matter of courting the president, I will say this. Since the passing on of my father, the only senior leadership that has come to check and take care of us as a family has been President William Ruto. And the thing about the Kenyan society is they love to put things as us versus them. I can still like you and disagree with you, or vice versa. But on a personal capacity, if you knew the village I woke up in India, and I was here within 24 hours, I must be grateful for the honor and respect that he accorded my father in that period.
So what's been your interaction with the president since you said he's been the only one who's come to check on you and the family since Raila's passing?
Yes, but you know, my interaction is also quite limited. I may know many things, but I don't forget my sense of occasion. One thing people forget is they forget to know their place. I know my place. I'm not just texting him, hey, what's up, man? What are we doing today? Did you see that goal? No. I must respect the presidency. I respect the office of the presidency, as well as I also respect the voices of the people. Two things can be true. So it's not a casual thing. It's a respectful thing. He was my father's colleague. I must respect that. Yes, and I do.
On the issue of, I'd like us to now go into politics and those talks that are happening, at least on both sides of UDA and ODM. You know, the president, in having a parliamentary group meeting recently, has talked about the need for a pre-election coalition pact between both parties, saying there is a need to have a resounding win. If this matter came up to an NDC, and you say you're a party member, what is the one thing you will be saying there? And let's assume the deadline of, you know, the agreement, March 2026, has come and gone. ODM and UDA in an election pact, a coalition. Do you think these two parties share similar ideals enough to go it together in 2027?
You know, funnily enough, I believe all Kenyan parties or political vehicles believe in the same thing. We all believe quality of life has to improve. We all believe there should be some level of social welfare. We all believe in all the same things. What parties in Kenya actually disagree on is the journey, the method of getting there. For example, UDA is bottom-up. ODM or Azimio was talking about 6,000 a month, more equity in social welfare. Again, that question comes down to a plebiscite, to an election, and people decide once given the choice of those factors. But I believe if people are able to give the country a clear path, a direction, where the people feel included in their governance, where they trust their governance, and where they feel this is the right way to go, I believe anything is possible in Kenya.
So you believe UDA and ODM are somewhat similar in ideology?
I believe crazier things have happened in terms of, do you remember the 2000 when NDP joined with KANU? I believe sometimes means to an end. Crazier things have happened. Yes.
So if it were a means to an end, what end would that be? If ODM and UDA were to...
the lives and the living standards of the people of Kenya.
Do you believe UDA shares that ideal?
Yes, I believe, especially because they're quite religious leaning. And those are some of the things that we are taught about in Christianity, in Islam, and they're more of a conservative party. I do believe they want the best for Kenyans.
But yet you think the conversation about a pre-election pact is...
premature.
Okay. At what point would it be mature?
After we have assessed the achievements of the 10-point agenda. The 10-point agenda is a contract. It's a guideline that we are meant to assess the governance of Kenya. After we have assessed, and if some things have not been achieved, it's also part of governance. Sometimes governance is slow, sometimes it's fast. Okay, you've not finished now, will you finish in April? Will we
do you think, what's your assessment of the progress of the achievement of the 10-point agenda? We've got less than 2 months now to the deadline. So what's your personal assessment of that 10-point agenda and the achievement of all of those
I believe there's still quite a few outstanding points that need to be addressed.
Do you think they can be addressed by March the 10th?
I don't believe it's for me to address them. There's an NADCO report, there's a team working on it.
But in your view, based on how things are going and how they have progressed over the last, say, 9 or 10 months...
I want to be optimistic.
Okay. So which parts specifically do you think have yet to be addressed?
Compensation of victims, space for youth, there's anti-corruption. A friend of mine was saying the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, we never see them nabbing anybody before the fact. There are very many questions that need to be answered. The reforms have to be tangible. And you ask me questions, but I don't believe the onus is on me. There was a committee that was selected to do this work. The question is for them.
But you are a member of ODM.
Yeah.
And therefore have views on a pact that ODM has signed, or an agreement at least, a 10-point agenda between ODM and UDA. So as an ODM member, are you optimistic that by March this will be all resolved? I mean, for instance, compensation of victims.
I'm hopeful. Yes, I am optimistic.
What would it take to get that? Because there have been some legal hurdles.
I cannot tell you, I'm not an expert in that matter. But I believe the point of a parliament is to put pressure on the executive to achieve the things that the people have mandated them to do, at least the parliament that I am. And therefore, those are the questions that bodies such as those should be asking, because they represent the people. So where are we in terms of this agreement we made with the people?
As a young person, and you talk about finding space for young people to not only speak their mind, but perhaps also have some type of economic prosperity. Do you think this current administration, for which you say that's one of the important issues of the 10-point agenda, and you said ODM and UDA have similar ideals, do you believe that UDA as a party and its party chair, the president, has the best interests of youth like yourself at heart, considering the events of June 2024 and 2025?
Which events are you referring to?
Pardon?
Sorry, which events are you referring to?
The protests in June 2024, after everything that has happened, because you talk about the young people being an important constituency. You've talked about ODM and UDA being similar in ideals. So do you think UDA as a party, considering the 10-point agenda, wants the best for young people and has their best interests at heart?
I cannot answer on behalf of UDA. I am not a member of that party. I'm not a member of government. I do not speak on behalf.
But that is a key point in the 10-point agenda, is it not?
It absolutely is.
And you are a member of ODM. That is together with UDA in this agreement, in this 10-point agenda.
The agreement to foresee this agenda.
Right, yes. And so as a party member of ODM, I'm just asking about that specific point in the 10-point agenda with respect to young people. Are you satisfied with the progress that's been made? Are you satisfied as one arm or a member of one arm of this agreement? Are you satisfied with how the other side is treating young people in this country?
I think you're mixing two questions there. Is it the treatment of people, or is it if I'm satisfied with the progress?
The progress of how they're treating people?
No, the progress of creating spaces for young people.
Okay, let's talk about that.
No, I'm absolutely dissatisfied. 70-75% of this country is made up of young people. Until we get some parity, I'm dissatisfied with the spaces that are being opened up for young people.
What would you like ODM to do with respect to this broad-based government and looking forward to the 2027 election?
I would like an ODM to organize itself first before we start to speak about coalitions and pacts towards 2027. It's far too early to be talking about certain coalitions. But I believe ODM needs to strengthen itself, re-energize its grassroots, listen to its members, and follow the creed of its people. That is all I think ODM should concern itself with at the moment, before anything else.
All right, and part of that is, I think in terms of reorganizing the party, there is, the party leadership seems to be in different spaces. I want us to listen to you speaking about at least one leader of the party, and that's the Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna.
Leo naleta greetings kutoka mandugu zangu Babu Owino na katibu mkuu wa chama Edwin Sifuna. Tuko pamoja, msijali.
What do you think of Edwin Sifuna's performance as Secretary General of the party, especially considering everything that's happened in the last 3 months?
I think as a custodian of the party constitution, I think he's been stellar. I think as a representative of the people of Nairobi, he's one of the more popular elected leaders. And I believe that Edwin Sifuna has a right to say his opinion. And even though you may like or may not like what he says, he is an elected leader that represents a certain people. And he has a right to speak whatever it is that he would like to speak.
Are you working with him in any way? And allow me to ask this because there are perceived factions that we see playing out in the public sphere between the party chair and others on one end, and the Secretary General of the party of which you are a member on the other. He has made his views known on the talks for coalition, on the 10-point agenda and how that is being managed. Are those views you share?
I really resent the classification of factions. I think our politics is being personalized. Like I said earlier, I may not agree with you.
What would you call them?
But I defend your right to say. I think it's personality politics, and I think it's quite unfortunate that people are being hypocritical. I've heard people saying that so-and-so must leave the party because they're talking to so-and-so at night. But even you're talking to another so-and-so at night. And I believe people are settling political scores that they may have had, and I don't think it's right to chase anybody. This party belongs to everybody. And so if you tell one person that they have to leave the party simply because they don't agree with you, what are you then saying to the people that elected him? That we don't care what they think? He has a right, and he has a right to say, and he has a right to believe what he believes in. And that is ODM. Everyone can say.
Yeah. So you say people are talking to so-and-so at night. Is everybody in the party talking to so-and-so?
Even me.
And who is so-and-so?
Even me. Today, I'm talking to you, and it's very late. But even me, they'll say I spoke to Yvonne Okwara in the night, which is true. We spoke. Those are things people say. I mean, it's politics. It's petty, but it shouldn't get to the level that it's getting to. And even us as younger members are getting concerned. Can somebody call us to order?
Is there space for young people in ODM?
Yes. May kick and scream to get it, but there's space.
Okay. I'd like us to take a look at some feedback and questions and comments from the public. Yeah, you can read that as well. In the interest of public accountability, it would be insightful if Madam Winnie highlights her key contributions and achievements for the country while serving in the East African Legislative Assembly. Do you want to take that?
Oh, yeah. It's quite unfortunate what has happened to the Regional Assembly. The Regional Assembly was created for a purpose, integration. And actually, if you look at the history of the Assembly and the laws and the Hansard, the Assembly has passed every law that was needed for integration. But right now we've moved to a different point, which is the point of ratification. Now, for example, in Kenya, the East Africa community is ingrained in our constitution. In other countries, it's an act of parliament. We've had a situation where countries have come in, some who don't use common law, some use Sharia law, some don't speak French, and therefore the parliament has been caught up in a lot of bureaucracy, teething issues, instead of being able to handle certain things. I personally, in my capacity, have been pushing for issues around tech, digital literacy, digital penetration, and online safety. And when I say digital, it's not just giving people a computer. The use of digital in every aspect, the use of digital in agriculture, smart farming, smart fishing, the use of digital in just young people being allowed to go on TikTok and make something to eat for the day. The use of digital in all these spaces that, as you've seen, even recently, some may feel they need to make that space smaller. And so therefore, that's what I have done in my capacity. And in terms of the effectiveness of this parliament, unfortunately, the parliament has been grounded for almost close to 2 years because it's unable to fund itself.
Let's take another question now. This is from Samson Kamau Nyeri. If ODM does not field a presidential candidate in 2027, will that not totally weaken the party?
Yes, I agree with Samson. Yeah. Point of a party is to be competitive. Point of the party is to have people in positions of power. For what reason would you not have a presidential candidate? The party has 8 million members. Are we saying there's not one that is fit enough to run for president? We have always fielded a presidential candidate. And so I agree with Samson. That has potential to weaken the party.
Yeah, that would be a key, if not the most key point of a conversation in a pre-election pact between ODM and UDA.
Perhaps, but like I said, these talks are too premature. What I learned is a lot of people say they're students of Baba, but a lot of them were sleeping in the back of the class. Pre-election pacts are done 3 months to an election. They are not done a year and a half. They are not done when you have not organized your party. They are not done if you don't have an agenda, you're selling the country. They are not done if you don't agree. They are not done if you don't know whether the referee is capable of achieving an election or not. For me, people are not focusing on what needs to be done first.
Well, President Ruto said in response to some concerns from members of UDA about a possible election pact between ODM and UDA, he said UDA has the presidency and that is the position. So it would seem they've already taken a position with this one. Is that even in a pre-election pact that UDA would be fielding a presidential candidate, presumably, of course, the incumbent. If that becomes the sticking point.
But it's presumably so. It's presumably so that the incumbent, the sitting president, will run for a second.
Let's say that he does, which
he will.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And you say ODM not fielding a presidential candidate would weaken the party. If he insists and he's going to be the candidate, should ODM then continue in a pact with UDA?
I believe the two matters are not intertwined.
You don't think so?
No, I believe the matters of UDA and what they want is actually the point that I need ODM to get to. We need to organize ourselves. We need to decide if we have a candidate. We need to organize ourselves as other parties are organizing themselves. We don't need to start now saying, we're giving up, this is what we're going to do. No. We need to give our people and our supporters a fighting chance. So, like I told you, I'm not a member of UDA. But I believe the president is doing exactly what he should do.
Let's take another question now. And this one is from Araprono in Bomet. When he's just being dishonest or plain ignorant? Sorry, go listen to Raila's speech at the late Phoebe Asio's burial in Homa Bay. He even talked about 2027 and beyond. If in doubt, refer to that speech again.
It's not a question.
It's a comment. Let's get to another one. Mukhtar Khalif from Wajir says, I come from Wajir West constituency, the only northern Kenya constituency which embraced Raila's opposition party in 2002. To date, we've never benefited. How will ODM ensure we don't make an exodus defection to UDA?
By incorporating his and other people like his views in the party. I think it's exactly what I've been saying. The party must reflect the needs and the will of the people. Otherwise, you will have a hemorrhage.
How likely do you think there would be?
Unlikely.
Hemorrhage? Okay. Not likely to have a hemorrhage?
Unlikely. It's a party of 20 years, I told you. It's like a marriage of 20 years. You're going to have some fights here and there, but you and the person you're married to will figure it out.
Sometimes even those end.
Sometimes.
Marriages even that are longer than 20 years.
Sometimes, yes.
Could this one end?
No. ODM will not end.
Let's take another one. Ibrahim in Mandera, if divide and rule destroyed past regimes, why does ODM seem comfortable using the same tactics it once fought against?
I'm not quite sure what...
Do you think there's any such tactics being played in the party?
Divide and rule? This is a difficult question, the way it's been framed. I don't know who's playing that game and who...
Do you think there's anybody playing that game within the party?
They're referring to. No, but I think there are those who would like to. But this is very normal for ODM to not agree or to think on different paths. I don't think anyone's...
Who are those you think would like to play divide and rule in ODM?
I think you should have asked me that 2 hours ago before the studio lights started to get really hot.
Is the question invalid now?
It's completely invalid. Now I've turned down.
Is it invalid? I did ask you about the party and
I answered it.
Yeah. So is there anybody you think that is playing divide and rule?
You can refer to my answers then.
Another question? Here is G. Okumu, I suppose. Kindly tell Winnie that all political parties are by mandate formed to capture power. ODM is not an exemption. So her alluding that M in ODM means a forever movement in the streets is total baloney. Raila always vied for president to change lives on inside government. I believe that's... I
believe he agrees. I think he agrees with me. Perhaps he misunderstood me.
Yeah.
ODM is forever a movement. Even the point of capturing power is to move and change the lives of people. I think he misunderstood me. So it's difficult to answer that.
Let's get another one. This is from Agumba Steve. What is it that awaits us at the NDC? I mean, what's ringing in her mind for the NDC? And by the way, the parallel ODM meetings they're holding, are they for the good or bad of the party? Oh, this is a loaded question. Finally, 2027, what seat are you eyeing? This is from Steve Agumba.
I don't think there have been any parallel meetings I have called for of the party.
No, but there have been parallel meetings of the party, not necessarily called by you.
Again, people are searching for the views of the people. Like I said, I think that's perfectly normal. That's perfectly expected that people will be doing that. That's how the party is.
Okay, so what's in your mind for the NDC?
Yvonne, I believe I've just answered that question. The NDC first has to answer, the party first has to answer a few things, and in my mind is talking about reforms of the party, decentralizing party governance, strengthening the grassroots. That's what's in my mind.
All right, let's take another one. Do we have another? Yes, we do. And then we can come back. Victor Odhiambo in Machakos. Good evening. Ask Winnie, Honorable Winnie, what is the target of our president towards our mum in regards to the position that he has awarded our mum? I think you've answered that one. Here's another one. Before we get into another, somebody reminds me of what you said about copy-pasting Baba, and so that I don't put words in your mouth, let's listen to it.
Hawezi copy-paste Baba. Huwezi copy-paste the greatest leader Kenya has ever seen. Ati unabadilisha na huyu, ati sasa tuko na Baba. No, haiwezi kuwa hivyo. So sisi kama watu wa ODM, lazima tuongee na watu wetu. Lazima tuongee na mavijana, tuongee na wamama. Pia wazee tutaongea nao.
Again, now that we have you here, just to get some understanding.
Who
is trying to copy-paste Baba? What were you alluding to
I was
here?
alluding to those who keep saying, Baba told us this, Baba told us this. Those that trying to speak for Baba.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Either Baba told us or he didn't. You cannot take words that you were told in private, i.e. copying them, and come and paste them in public, and you're the only one who knows about it. So that is what I was alluding to.
Okay. Allow us to just read 2 or 3 final comments, and then we can close our conversation. Actually, let's have it as 2, right? Okay. Let's see what we have. We've got this one from George Marita in Kisii. Says, you are an embodiment of the true spirit of Raila Odinga and all that he stood for. Those thinking otherwise are wrong, since the coveted mantle passed from Oginga to Odinga and now to the lineage of Odinga in the person of Winnie, because always that is who Odinga presented to Kenyans. Let's take another one, final one. Mercy in Kericho says, good evening. I've been an ODM member since, but have never healed because of Baba's death. But I would like Winnie to be the party leader of ODM, because when I listen to her speeches, she's like Baba and she's giving me hope again. That's a good place to wind it up. For those that say you should be the party leader, like Mercy?
I like Mercy because she's a dreamer, like me. I dream big. But I believe ODM, as big as a juggernaut as it is, needs an experienced leader, somebody who has experience at high levels of governance and management, and somebody who has, strong convictions on what it is about the party wants to do. I don't believe it's a job that. I don't believe my feet have grown that big yet to fit in those shoes.
What's next for you?
Well, right now I'm going to go home.
Right.
Yeah.
So we all, tomorrow, next month, next year, what's next for you? What do you see for yourself? I know you've talked about what the people might ask you to do, but what do you want to do, Winnie?
I want to honor my father's legacy. I walked this journey for a long time with him. I believe in him. I believe certain truths, things he taught me. And there are certain moments where I believe he would be rolling in his grave. I want to continue improving the lives of as many people as I can. And like Lincoln said, to be esteemed by my fellow man would be the greatest honor of my life. I believe in his vision, in my grandfather's vision, and I believe in thoroughly doing my best to honor that legacy.
Winnie Odinga, MP for Yala, thank you for speaking with us on The Explainer tonight. It's been a pleasure hosting you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's take a break on The Explainer. Africa's first pension data hub launched to harmonize information across the continent. Africa's pension funds and asset managers have launched the continent's first centralized data hub, a move that's expected to improve investment decisions, strengthen regulation, and mobilize African capital for use within the continent. The platform was unveiled in Nairobi at the Pan-African Fund Managers Association conference. Jasmine Wamboi brings us that report.
The million jobs that we need for the continent.
Africa's pension and asset management industry controls billions of dollars. Yet, for years, it has operated without a single reliable source of comparable data. That gap is now being addressed with the launch of the Africa Pensions and Asset Management Data Hub, or simply APAM Data Hub. Industry leaders say the hub will support better investment decisions and facilitate evidence-based oversight by regulators.
When we ask, various fund managers or the industry, why is there not more investment in Africa, in the continent? And one of the first things they would say is that because there's a dearth of data that's not publicly available, it's not standardized, so how do you compare apples with apples? So I think this data hub will go a long way in assuaging those concerns.
We expect assets under management collectively now within Africa to grow very strongly. We have estimated in other studies that by 2040, those assets will be about $7 trillion, which is quite significant. And we can now start shaping those assets to invest in Africa's economic transformation.
Initial findings already highlight wide disparities across African markets. Asset bases range from deep and mature markets like South Africa with $206 billion in collective investment schemes to countries with little or no licensed fund management activity like Mali with assets below $1 million. Kenya is one of the continent's more developed markets, holding about $16.6 billion in pension assets and $2.6 billion in collective investment schemes. Still, the industry remains highly concentrated and conservative in its investment approach.
So there is a very conservative streak to fund managers for understandable reasons. It's your and my pensions. And so we need to create investment instruments that allow those asset managers to invest in a way that gives them the sort of security that they need in order to know that they're going to get their money back at the end of the day with a return.
Stakeholders say the ultimate goal of the Data Hub is to mobilize the continent's growing pool of institutional capital and ensure it is invested productively within the continent to support long-term development, infrastructure and climate financing. Jasmine Wambui, Citizen TV.
The latest Capital Market Authority report for the final quarter of 2025 shows that year-on-year, the bonds turnover surged by 70.9% to stand at 635.02 billion shillings compared to 371.5 billion recorded in the corresponding quarter. In the period under review, the government raised 260 billion shillings in the primary market through the reopening of 9 treasury bonds, including 1 saving development bond. Jimmy Mbogo has more.
The Capital Market Authority quarterly report shows that in the last quarter of 2025, the securities market rebounded, with the NSE 20 share index increasing by 5.60% to 3,139.19 points in the quarter, up from 2,972.64 points in the third quarter of 2025. The NSE All-Share Index also rose by 5.57% to 186.58 points in the quarter, up from 176.74 points in the previous quarter, while market capitalization increased by 5.75% to 2,944.54 billion in quarter 4 of 2025, up from 2,784.47 billion shillings in quarter 3 of 2025. CMA further notes that the market capitalization reached 3.04 trillion shillings in November 2025, surpassing the 3 trillion mark during the quarter under review, even as equity turnover decreased by 6.51% to 43.22 billion shillings in the quarter, down from 46.23 billion in the previous quarter. Further, in the period under review, CMA notes that diaspora remittances declined significantly by 11.51% to stand at 383,000 in November 2025, down from the 438,789 recorded in the previous months. Despite the decline, the North American region continues to lead in diaspora remittance, contributing an average of 60.62%, with 21.89% coming from the rest of the world, even as 17.50% comes from Europe. The report coming at a time when overall economy continued on a positive trajectory, posting 4.9% expansion in the third quarter of 2025, compared to a growth of 4.2% in the corresponding quarter of 2024, which has been attributed to accelerated expansion in several sectors, including agriculture, forestry and fishing sectors, which grew by 3.2%, as well as rebounds in the construction, mining and quarrying activities, which rose by 6.7% and 16.6% respectively. But despite the mixed signals from the market, the capital market remains bullish over 2026 prospects. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Kenya's economy is expected to remain resilient in 2026, supported by stronger trade ties with emerging markets and rising digital adoption. This is according to the latest outlook by the Mastercard Economics Institute. Dennis Otieno reports.
The MasterCard Economic Institute's 2026 Economic Outlook says Kenya is well placed to sustain economic momentum despite a challenging global environment. The report highlights solid domestic demand, expanding digital inclusion, and more diversified trade relationships as key strengths. As global supply chains reorganize, Kenya is increasing trade with emerging markets in Asia and the Middle East. The removal of import duties on most African goods by China is expected to open new export opportunities for Kenyan producers, helping cushion the economy from external shocks. Inflation pressures are forecast to remain moderate, supported by a weaker US dollar and lower energy prices. This could give the central bank room to ease interest rates and support growth. The report also notes that small and medium-sized enterprises remain critical, with digital tools and technology helping businesses cut costs, improve efficiency, and compete more effectively. Digital transformation, including the adoption of artificial intelligence alongside infrastructure investment, is expected to further strengthen productivity and long-term growth. Globally, the Institute expects economic growth to ease slightly in 2026, with lower inflation and continued expansion driven by technology. While trade fragmentation poses risks, rising AI adoption and flexible economies are expected to support global growth, even as gains remain uneven across regions. Dennis Otieno, Citizen TV.
All right, now, residents of Akingli village in Kisumu have resorted to capturing and ferrying baboons to the local KWS office due to increased attacks on their farms by the primates. The residents are also counting losses as the animals have destroyed crops that were due for harvest and have begun attacking human beings. And as Laura Otieno reports, the Kenya Wildlife Service has cautioned residents against handling wildlife, which they say may turn fatal.
8 a.m. on Tuesday, Nicanor Bodo fastens a cage on his tricycle. Inside, two small baboons playfully move around, oblivious of their surroundings. The ground is littered with mangoes, evidence of the ambush that was laid on this homestead on Monday night.
Nikiwachia watoto chakula, wanaribu, wanachukua, wanaenda nayo. Vitabu ya hizi watoto hata wakipata pia wanabeba, wanakimbia nayo, ni kama wanasoma. Hizi ni Gen Z ama hizi ni akina nani? Sasa nani anadumu mimi, anadumia mimi?
Hiyo bibi nasumbua mimi kila siku. Saidia kabisa. Kwa puru. Siku puru. Kwa hii maembe, bibi nawacha hii kidogo tu, naenda nitatafuta mogo.
Apart from the destruction of farms, some residents are also nursing injuries. The baboons often attack early in the morning and they raid in groups announcing their presence.
Inafika kilele inavweka. Unasikia tu juu ya maembe kama bibi inafanya tu buhu inavweka tu hivyo. Sasa lazima nivae long, navaa top, navaa kofia. Ukisaweka kofia hivi, bibi akiona mimi kama nachukua mawe hivi, na rusa, bibi nakimbia, anajua mimi ni boy.
KWS has however cautioned residents against handling the wildlife directly.
Hawa wanyama wanakuwaga na magonjwa ingine baya sana, na tungependa mwananchi aumizwe, na ni sisi tulienda tukaweka mtego. Vile tu tuliweka, tunaomba wakati ule itashika, tuitwe tukuje tushukue na tulete.
The service says it will dispatch its officers to the area in a bid to ease the escalating human-wildlife conflict.
Mimi nasikia njaa, please.
Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
My name is Emmanuel Ndungo. It's time for the sports news. Kenya Premier League leaders Gor Mahia FC are back in training as they prepare for a tricky encounter against Sofapaka FC on Saturday at the Nyayo National Stadium. Gor Mahia won the first match 2-0 at the Dandora Stadium, but the technical bench is leaving nothing to chance in the league that is becoming very competitive. Gor Mahia have been on a good run, winning 5 of the last 7 matches without a loss. The two draws in that period have been in away matches against Bandari and Shabana. The only injury concern is striker Felix Oluoch, who will be out for the next 2 weeks. Fullback Lewis Bandy and midfielder Ben Stanley Omondi are back in training after recovering from their injuries. Gor Mahia lead the table on 33 points, the same as AFC Leopards, but with a game in hand. Sofapaka are second from bottom with 14 points, same as the Kariobangi Sharks in last position.
Being our first day training, tuko prepared kwa game ya Saturday. It's not an easy match because hata kulingana hata kama form yao iko vibaya, naweza sema kucheza na Sofapaka Gor against Sofapaka iko an easy match.
Yes, we have watched them. I think we watched them in their last game against Leopard. They're a good team. And from what we saw, I think that we have a plan as to how to approach the game.
For you today in the world of sports, as we said at the top, it was a packed show. So, yes, absolutely. And we have some feedback to get through as well.
Thanks for staying with us.
Thanks for staying with us as well at home.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at that one. Let's start with Mark Makuda, who says ODM has brilliant leaders. Winnie Odinga is one of them. It's high time old guards incorporate their synergies or the synergies of the young people and stand for the core values of the ODM party. You want to take this
Next up, we have Hamisi Ndune, 23. I love the courage and confidence of Madame Winnie Odinga. How I wish she could be the one leading us in our Kenyan politics, especially towards advocating for young people towards party tickets. Because as of now, the youthful will not be given tickets easily. Keep it up.
All right, do we do this last one or how many more do we have? But let's take this one. Lord Mayor says, I swear once again, for more than 3 months now, I'm watching Raila Odinga live. Winnie is Odinga by look and by character. I'm overwhelmed watching Winnie sit and speak to us. Baba's photocopy. I love Winnie so much, and I'm the only believer that in her we will have the first female president. She has a whole future in front of her. I wish her Godsteps and long life.
We have another one from Caleb. The political maturity exemplified by Winnie is quite admirable. It is beyond age. It is divine, he says. We are optimistic that she'll play a critical role in the fight for social justice, just as her father is envisioned. Go, go, go. Chogo.
Read that last one.
Go, Chogo.
Okay, good. So what does Chogo mean? Do you know?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. Do you know who he's referring to? Chogo?
Not quite, actually.
Okay. So
tell us.
Chogo, in Luo, I believe, means last born.
Oh.
And Winnie is the last born.
Oh, okay. So I learned
they call her Chogo.
Yeah. Okay, I learned something there.
It's good you stuck around.
Absolutely.
See, now you know.
Here at
Are you a
11:30.
Chogo?
No, I'm a firstborn.
Oh, okay.
I just say firstborn.
I don't know. I don't speak the language. That's all I know.
Fair enough. That's what you know.
That's all I know.
All right, that's good then.
All right, okay. So good night from the firstborn.
Absolutely. And what are you?
Oh, last.
You're last. Oh, you're the Chogo. Okay,
the baby.
fantastic.
All right, okay,
Yes.
cool. Thanks for watching our show. Liz Atieno is our sign language interpreter. I'm Ivana Kwara.
And I'm Emmanuel Ndungu.
Good night.
See you around.